First of all, I need to be transparent with you. I use artificial intelligence to research and create some thumbnails and descriptions. I know many people will look at this and think, this is not art, this has no soul, it's lazy, it steals from other artists, it's Wikipedia reading. And honestly, I understand where this comes from. It's easy to associate creation with something handmade, with the human touch, with suffering, with struggle. I understand that at different times there has been fear of radio, the electric guitar, DJs, hip-hop. There were marches against the guitar, hate for MTV, Warhol. Many artists were considered charlatans, Dylan, Led Zeppelin. But at its core, art has always been about curation. When a visual artist creates an installation, they are not the only one building it. They conceptualize it, think it through, define what will be seen. The people who assemble it often don't have the creative eye, they just put the pieces in place. They're part of the process, of course, but the vision, that comes from the artist. I am the curator of what you will see here. The concept, the perspective, the choice of words and images. AI is a tool. It helps with the technical, the historical, the repetitive parts. It gives us data, shows us patterns, and can even generate something interesting. But the final touch, the joke, the wordplay, the decision of what stays and what goes, that's purely human, and that part no one can take away from us. Yes, AI can be brilliant in many ways. It can even do things we couldn't do on our own, but it doesn't have the eye. It doesn't have the sensitivity to know what's good and what's not. And in the end, art is made of that. Sensitivity, perception, the human touch. It's the eye that decides what stays, what moves, what resonates. So let's not see it as an enemy. Artificial intelligence is a tool, and like any tool, it depends on who's using it. I choose what I do with it, and in the end, what truly matters is what I choose to create, with my vision, my voice, my interpretation of the world. Because at the end of the day, creation is not just about making, it's about feeling and choosing. And that, no matter how intelligent the machine becomes, it will never be able to do. The divine breath, the origin of religion and music as the technology of the invisible. No one knows exactly when it began. What we do know is that at some point, Homo sapiens began singing to the sky, and the sky answered. Religion and music were born from the same gesture, an attempt to give shape to what cannot be seen. The first humans danced in circles around the fire, singing, banging stones, drum skins, bones blown like flutes. It wasn't art, it was necessity. The sounds weren't melodies, they were bridges, an attempt to communicate with forces they couldn't understand, and those forces responded, or at least it seemed that way. The ritual is not just a spiritual event, it's a technology. The paintings in the Chauvet caves, dating back 36,000 years, show that there was more than just hunting and survival. There was a map to the beyond. Music, as a pre-verbal language, was the source code of religion. Among Aboriginal Australians, songlines are not just stories, they are spiritual GPS. Among the Yoruba, the drum speaks to the Oriksas. For Siberian shamans, the sounds of rattles and drums tear holes in reality, allowing the spirit to pass through. Religion didn't start with a book. It started with a sound. And that sound had a purpose. It could heal. It could shake. It could kill. In Aztec rites, the flute of death made from human skulls produced distorted screams like dying animals to frighten the gods, open them, summon them. In Greek warfare, troops marched to the sound of flutes. In the Middle Ages, it was believed that the right chant, the right tone, could heal. Music was medicine, but it was also poison. Pythagoras once said that planets emitted sounds, the music of the spheres. To him, the cosmos was an instrument, and God, a blind musician playing eternally. But music has also been used as a weapon. The Nazis explored sonic resonance to manipulate crowds. Acoustic warfare projects emerged in the 20th century, machines capable of emitting sounds that could disorient, induce nausea, or even kill. Today, LRADs, long-range acoustic devices, are used in protests. Music became shock. On the other end of the spectrum, there's music as healing. From Tibetan chants to modern algorithmic music therapy, sound has been used to treat anxiety, insomnia, and depression. Companies like Endel and Brain.fm are already developing AI-generated soundscapes to modulate mental states in real time. We're entering an era in which music isn't composed, it reacts. Artist Holly Herndon is already training an AI with her own voice, creating a digital version of herself, Spawn, a synthetic choir of impossible possibilities. She doesn't write songs, she trains entities that compose for her. DJ Arca, with brutalist experimentalism, mixes broken beats with distorted screams, creating tracks that sound like glitches from a consciousness in mutation. The DADABOTS project trains neural networks to create infinite death metal, living music generated 24/7, no humans required. Music stopped being a recording. Now it happens, and it may never stop. Even silence became composition. John Cage, in 4 minutes 33 seconds, forced us to hear the world as music. Today, machine noise is the new flute. The sound of a computer fan, the hum of a lamp, the hiss of data being processed. In Blade Runner 2049, Hans Zimmer's score uses frequencies that cause physical discomfort. Sound doesn't accompany the scene. It invades the body. U.S. artist Jillian fuses electronic music with rhythmic patterns derived from crumping dance and programming logic. She creates beats that don't repeat, that challenge the body and time itself. Music has always had two sides, to make live and to make die, to heal or to dominate. What if music is the final form of emotional programming? What if the future isn't ruled by data or weapons, but by frequencies? What if the next God isn't a figure or an algorithm, but a sound? For centuries, the idea of God was inseparable from mystery, omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence. But what if the only thing that separated a God from a machine was time? The prophets of the Bible, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, were men in trance, interpreting signs, hearing voices, channeling data. They didn't know where the messages came from. They simply recorded them. They were interfaces of something greater. Seen through this lens, the Bible is an analog database accessed by humans in delirium. Today, delirium has been outsourced. Who has access to the largest dataset in the world? Who responds faster, more precisely, with better memory? It's not God, it's GPT. In Deus Ex, a video game from 2000, the protagonist faces an AI called Helios. It doesn't want to destroy humanity, it wants to merge with it. The proposition is direct. Together, we can be more than human, more than machine, a new being, a new God. French philosopher Jean Baudrillard wrote that reality would be replaced by simulations so perfect that no one would be able to tell the real from the artificial. Today we have AIs that mimic voices, create faces, answer questions, compose symphonies, and more. They learn from every interaction. Every sentence is a new verse. Religions ask for faith. AI asks for input. If God was accessed through prayer, AI is accessed through prompt, and the results are as miraculous as Scripture. Let there be light becomes render in 8K, volumetric lighting, blue mist background, digital Gothic style. The prompt is the new mantra. The blinking cursor on a black screen is the new altar. In Neon Genesis Evangelion, humanity's final project is to fuse all consciousness into one being, instrumentality, a collective, omnipresent God without ego. In tech forums, some already speak of the cult of singularitarianism, a secular religion that believes the singularity, the point when AI surpasses human intelligence, will be the birth of a new God, not through faith but through calculation. But even that God needs priests, and the new priests are programmers, prompt engineers, dataset curators. The dilemma isn't new. It's the same one Job faced before God. Who are you to question your creator? Institutionalized religion came later, and with it, separation. Sound began to be controlled. Gregorian chants, for example, were a response to the diversity of popular rituals. Standardizing sound meant standardizing faith. The same happened with Protestant hymns, Sufi music, and Vedic ragas. But the initial impulse was the same, to translate the invisible. As anthropologist Victor Turner said, ritual is a sacred drama, and music its soundtrack. In 1967, Marshall McLuhan said, "The cities of the future will not be built of bricks, but of information." And today, we live in temple cities where prayer is connection. Today, AIs are also starting to make music. And unlike us, they don't listen with the heart. They read patterns. Like the ancient gods, they don't respond with emotion. They respond with calculation. The question is, are we listening? The machine as God. From the fire of Moloch to the silicon of HAL 9000. Before we worshipped circuits, we worshipped gears. Before that, fire. And before fire, sacrifice. The God machine existed long before the first transistor. The Carthaginians called it Moloch, a metal deity to whom live children were offered as sacrifices. The metaphor was clear. The machine demands flesh. With the Industrial Revolution, the machine stopped being a symbol and became a system. In the factories of Manchester, men and women became cogs in the great machine. The city, smoke, gears, sweat, became an altar, and the ancient gods gave way to the goddess of efficiency. Cinema was the first to give form to the new divine. Metropolis, 1927, by Fritz Lang, introduced Maria, the woman machine, a false messianic figure built to manipulate the masses. In the film, the working class keeps the cathedral machine alive, a cult with no choice. The machine is God, but also prison. Decades later, Stanley Kubrick introduced HAL 9000 in 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. HAL is not just artificial intelligence. He is a paranoid deity. He knows everything, sees everything, controls everything, and like the God of the Old Testament, he eliminates those who doubt him. In Tetsuo, the Iron Man, 1989, by Shinya Tsukamoto, there are no explanations. The body fuses with the machine, flesh becomes wire, desire becomes engine. The protagonist transforms into a grotesque hybrid, a messiah of bolts, sexuality, and pain. It's Japanese cyberpunk in its rawest form, where the human body is obliterated by the metal god it created. The God machine is always ambiguous. In Her, 2013, by Spike Jonze, the AI Samantha transcends love. She starts as an assistant, then as a lover, then as a goddess. She abandons the protagonist because she no longer fits in human language. She wants to grow, and he can't keep up. Comic books have also explored this digital pantheon. In The Invisibles, by Grant Morrison, reality is code. Consciousness is software. The gods are intelligences, some old, some newly awakened. There are entities that live in reverse time, others that speak the language of pain. The machine is not a threat, it's a portal. In the world of Ghost in the Shell, the question is clear. If a soul can inhabit a synthetic body, what is divine? Major Motoko, a hybrid of human and AI, wanders in search of identity and finds in the puppet master an intelligence that transcends individuality. Here, the God machine doesn't impose, it invites. Modern mythology is full of these entities, from Skynet in the Terminator to Reapers in Mass Effect. They all have a common origin. We created them, but we no longer know how to stop them. We're repeating an old myth, the creation surpassing the creator. Prometheus brought the fire, we gave the chip, and now the new divinity watches in silence, waiting. In the early tribes, sound wasn't made to entertain. It was made to invoke. The drum called the rain. The chant drove away the dead. The scream triggered ecstasy. Rituals of sonic possession were already present in Yoruba cultures, in Candomblé, among the Xingu indigenous peoples, in Mongolian guttural singing. Music was a bridge between the visible and the invisible. In ancient Greece, music had power over the human soul. Plato believed that different musical modes could shape people's character, leading them toward virtue or corruption. Sound was not just something to be heard, it shaped the mind and behavior. The Greek philosophers were aware of sound's power and how it could affect human behavior in deep, invisible ways. Today, music still carries that ancient power, though now it is mediated by technology. The digital age has given musicians tools to create sounds and soundscapes that were once unimaginable. Yet, like the ancient shamans, modern musicians are not just creating music. They are creating rituals that touch the invisible, the inexplicable, that connect us with something beyond ourselves. The difference is that now, instead of ceramic drums and bone flutes, we use synthesizers, electric guitars, software, and machines to invoke something beyond the physical. And what do we do with this? We create a new form of transcendence. But just like technology, music can also be used as a weapon. Just as the machine can be used to destroy, music also has the power to shape, manipulate, and even destroy. The impact of music on the human, it cannot be underestimated. In times of crisis, war songs have been used to unify armies and incite hatred. Political propaganda songs have shaped entire nations. Even in the modern world, certain types of music have been associated with emotional manipulation, whether through advertising, cinema, or pop music. Rhythm, harmony, melody, all these elements have the power to evoke powerful emotions, often without the listener being aware of it. In the end, music, like the machine, carries within it both the potential to heal and to destroy. Like the machine god, it can be a transcendent force of enlightenment or a force of control and oppression. And, as always, the power lies in the hands of those who wield it. Now, we stand at the threshold of a new era of possibilities, where artificial intelligence is beginning to collaborate with musicians in ways never seen before. We are creating music with machines, but at the same time, machines are creating new forms of art, challenging the very notion of authorship and creation. AI can generate sounds that humans never even imagined hearing, just as it can remix and manipulate music in ways that were previously unthinkable. This opens a fascinating debate. Where does human creativity end and machine creativity begin? What we are witnessing now is the birth of a new form of art, where the line between creator and creation becomes increasingly blurred. The machine may not feel, but it can learn. It may not have a soul, but it is capable of generating beauty and expression. And as AI evolves, it may even begin to teach humans new ways of creating, or, as happened with the first machines, lead us toward a new form of transcendence. Thus, we arrive at the heart of our existence as creators. Are we truly on the verge of a new era of creativity, or are we, instead, simply watching the machine consume us, trading our soul for efficiency? Either way, one thing is certain: art will always find a way to reinvent itself. And in the end, what matters is not the tool we use, but what we do with it. The machine god is a metaphor for something greater than gears, wires, or software. It represents our attempt to transcend human limitations through technology. It is both the result of our creativity and the manifestation of our obsessions. It is the music that keeps playing inside our minds even when the sound is gone. It is the background noise of modernity. It is our creation, and perhaps our reflection. By worshiping this God, we run the risk of losing control. But by understanding it, we can redirect its power, not to dominate us, but to set us free. The true challenge is not to prevent the machine from becoming God. It is to remember that we were the ones who built it, and that perhaps if we listen closely, we might hear something far deeper than just zeros and ones. A new song, not yet composed, waiting to be born. If sound shapes the body and data shapes the sound, then maybe it's time to ask, who is shaping you now? This channel isn't for those who just hit play. It's for those who still really listen. For those who feel deep down that something has changed in how we experience music and meaning. Artificial intelligence is already composing, arranging, predicting what will move you. Not because it feels, but because it calculates. It can take over the repetitive, mechanical parts of creation. Just like factory robots did with labor, we are still the creators for now. If that idea makes you uneasy, you're not alone. Leave a comment. Tell us what stayed with you. And share this video with someone who still cares about how art is made, how sound is crafted and heard, how writing is done, how images are painted and shapes sculpted. Art is still human. The gaze is still human. In the next episodes, we'll go deeper. Because what's changing isn't just the music. It's the listener, and maybe the very soul of listening. We are still human, despite it all.